Brenda's going to miss the meeting because she doesn't feel well. Just an FYI. I don't know if we really expected her to come, huh?
We talked this afternoon, so
There's no need for her to come, okay.
she didn't need to be here. She's got to sign the slip with Mike, which she needs to.
Thanks, Karen.
I think everything is very much a short.
That's okay.
All right.
Shelby, did you sign in? I did. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, January 6th, Brookfield Select Board meeting. Would everyone please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just have a couple announcements. I want to thank Matt Bansfield, Kermit Eaton, and Rudy Heller for the temporary windows that have been installed. They're in pretty much the whole downstairs and complete, and what a great job they're doing. They look great. They're hardly noticeable what they are, and it was a very inexpensive fix. So I think it was a job well done by especially Matt Bansfield and Kermit Eaton. Rudy Heller came in on the end and supplied lunch while they were working, so I thought that was great and worth mentioning his name. Moving on, the warrants, fiscal year 2026-14, the payroll is $213,117.09. Fiscal year 2026-14 withholdings, $94,378.93. Fiscal year 2026-14 accounts payable, $474,857.91. Agenda item number 1 at 7:05. It's a hearing, so I may just take one more thing. We'll give it a couple minutes. Hannah, you posted at 7:05. I think we'll deal with the open meeting law complaint from Christopher Kelleher back on 12/12/25. Karen, would you mind reading that response? And then we'll send it off.
As you are aware, the town of Brookfield Select Board is in receipt of an open meeting law complaint, this is to Mr. Kelleher, from you dated December 12, 2025. Your complaint alleges the following open meeting law violations. 1, the town failed to ensure the meeting was audible to the public in real time, and it does cite the statute. 2, failure to ensure the meeting was observable to the public. 3, failure to pause or correct technical failures affecting public access. And 4, unlawful entry into executive session without roll call vote.
Can I pause you for 1 minute?
Yep.
Because I made a bunch of notes and I spoke right over, or I didn't speak that this meeting is being videotaped and live streamed. So approximately 3.5 minutes into the meeting, I'm making a notice that we are being videotaped and live streamed. So I apologize for not saying that ahead of time. I'm sorry to cut you off,
Okay,
but
no, that's
please
fine.
continue.
Okay, to address complaints 1, 2, and 3, internet connectivity is poor at Town Hall. Seeing a black screen on Teams does not immediately mean that the recipient cannot see or hear us. Mr. Kelleher was asked by Teams chat if he had disabled his camera intentionally. No response was received. To address this in the future, additional notifications will be sent. Regarding the audio quality of the Teams call, audio was audible inside the meeting room at all times by IT staff. However, the cable access recording required edited audio in order to hear properly due to overly loud gain settings for the microphones in the room. This distorted the apparent levels of the Teams audio. Microphone gain settings have since been corrected to address this, avoiding the need to lower the audio levels in the future. Finally, an audible timer will be used to count 2 minutes of time for public comment. Members of the public's time for public comment will begin from when they first start speaking and will include any time used by members of the board to respond. In general, but taken on a case-by-case basis, members of the board will allow members of the public to speak for their full time without interruption. If the member of the public asks a question, any response by members of the board will count against the 2 minutes for that public comment. To address complaint 4, the board acknowledges that on 11/25/25, the vote to enter executive session was not recorded by roll call as required. In reviewing the video, while Mr. Chafee and Ms. Campbell both voted aye to enter into executive session, they did not state their name prior to the affirmative vote. Ms. Coughlin stated Coughlin aye. The Select Board affirms its commitments under the open meeting law and moving forward will be diligent in assuring a roll call vote will be taken. We sincerely hope that this explanation addresses your concerns, and we pledge to keep to the high standards of open meeting law transparency that the citizens of Brookfield should expect from its town officials. Sincerely, Richard A. Chafee, Chair, Brookfield Select Board.
All right, does anyone have any comments?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Chris.
so again, on, my request for a resolution on this was, I think the most important thing I was asking the board is if they would take the open meeting law class from the Attorney General. It is free. And, the most recent open meeting law complaint, I know you're not addressing it tonight, but it asks for that yet again, because there's been multiple, verified violations from the Attorney General's office. And I feel that it would be in the best interest of the town and the board for you guys to make a commitment tonight that you'll take that free course. That way there, it'll put an end to this cycle of repetitive open meeting law complaints. So is there any way that you could get a commitment from each board member tonight that they'll complete the course within, 30 days, 60 days, whatever the case may be, so that there could be some light at the end of this tunnel?
How much time is that?
I forgot to hit the start button. I
Okay.
apologize.
All right.
I didn't know because it was a hearing.
Okay. Chris, do you have anything else to add?
That's all I had to add, but I'd really like the board to answer my question. I mean, I don't
That's-
want to just be
we're not-
going over.
We're not going to talk about that this evening. It's not on
Okay,
the
then
agenda.
Okay, that's fine.
It's not, tell me when you're done, and I don't want to interrupt. I apologize for interrupting,
That's
so.
fine, that's fine. Then if the board's not going to commit to take the open meeting law class, you're going to force me to have the Attorney General to adjudicate the open meeting law violation. And I mean, you're leaving me no other option. And I'm going to ask the Attorney General to force the board to take the open meeting law class. Because there's repetitive violations that are confirmed by the Attorney General, not by me, not by Chris Keller, by the Attorney General themselves. And it's over and over and over again. And this is a free course. You know, I just don't understand why the reluctance of taking this. I'm done.
So I do want to respond and say that for all intents and purposes, the three people that sit on this board and any other board in this community are volunteers. They're all trying their best. No one has any personal intent to circumvent any of the open meeting laws. It's pretty obvious that you've taken every opportunity to do that at every circumstance, even though you vowed at times that you were done, that you wouldn't do it anymore. There's no intent from any single person in this community that serves on any boards to do anything underhanded or with no regard for the law. I am not going to submit to you a time frame that I'm going to be willing to take a class. I just took an ethics class last week. It took me about 45, 50 minutes, maybe an hour. I can't remember how long I took. I give an awful lot of time up to the town of Brookfield, and under no circumstances do you think, or under no circumstances am I going to feel like I'm pressured by you to take a certain class by a certain time frame, or else I will be continued to be ridiculed and demeaned by you as a result, Chris. So that's not how it works. Do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, but don't think you're going to force me to do anything or anyone else on this board. Beth?
I was just gonna say, I know I probably need to take a refresher, to be quite frank. I'll just be transparent about it, because I know when I questioned you about one of the executive sessions, it fell into an area that if I'd had a recent refresher, and it wasn't 9 years ago that I took the class, and plus the materials may have changed somewhat since then, because I think some of the big law changes were in 2010, and I think there's been a bunch of more materials that have come since then. So in terms of timeline, I don't know that I can commit to it in anything less than 3 weeks. I'll probably get it done before then, but, you know, I would expect probably by the end of the month I'll have gone back through it, just for my own education, quite frankly, at this point, because the
Yeah.
law's always changing. You know?
I
It's,
think that's great, and that's great, but I don't think I'm in any position to demand you do it, or any other person. It's
Yeah.
your, so.
I mean, I'm
but-
just
but
saying that
again, I
that's
took-
my personal
that-
choice, because
yeah.
I feel like we had a disagreement about it that was in, I still consider it a little bit of a gray area, but I think it would be better to have that context.
Fair enough, but if you felt like
So-
I was putting my thumb on you to tell you to do it in a particular timeline, or else, I probably would get a different reaction, and I would expect that. So my point is, I just took the ethics class. I'm constantly volunteering in one form or another, taking time away from my life and my family and my work, but I'm not going to commit to time limits by a threat from a resident. So that's my only point. So, Sarah, do you have anything? Otherwise, I'm going to move on.
Nope.
All right. All right. Number one, a hearing with Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. Come on up. I first want to say thank you very much for the work you did on Kimball Street, and it came out great, and I've talked to several residents, and they are extremely happy.
That's great. Great to hear it. Thanks, can't take full credit for that. It wasn't the contractor that did the work, and I wasn't also the highway superintendent, Kyle, who oversaw the work day to day.
Would you mind just stating your name for the
Yep,
record?
absolutely. I'm John O'Leary. I'm principal planner at the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. So I'm here tonight to conduct a performance hearing related to the town's FY 22-23 CDBG block grant program. So just a brief background on the CDBG program. So with the assistance from the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, the town of Brookfield received a fiscal year 22-23 grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development through the Massachusetts Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities Community Development Block Grant Program. The total value of the grant was $1.2 million, and it included direct project costs, including engineering oversight and construction, as well as project management and grant administration. The purpose of tonight's hearing, so this is a mandatory hearing. It's a summary of the activities funded by the grant that provides information and an opportunity for questions and comments from the public. The hearing will also discuss a potential reprogramming of the FY 22-23 CDBG program funding and seeks input from residents and the select board's approval. So just going on what was funded through the grant. So the Kimball Street Improvement Project was the primary activity that was funded through this grant program. It involved both the engineering design and construction phases of the infrastructure improvement project. The project area begins at the intersection with Mill Street and then goes north just to the south of the intersection with Hyde Street. The project involved replacing and repairing approximately 1,200 linear feet of road surface and sidewalks, as well as making improvements to some of the existing drainage along that road. A brief history of the project. So a request for qualifications for an engineer consultant was issued on May 22nd, 2024. The town received 4 proposals. There was a selection committee that met on July 9th to review and evaluate the submissions, ultimately selecting Weston and Sampson engineers of Rocky Hill, Connecticut, as the most advantageous proposal. A contract valued at $185,700 for engineering design and construction administration services was executed. During the fall and winter months of 2024 and leading into 25, the engineering consultant worked towards the completion of the design plans and specifications. By early spring, the consultant had completed all design phase tasks, and on April 17th, the project bid documents were made available to potential bidders. 16 bids were received as in response to that invitation for bid, with ML Partlow and Son Paving identified as the apparent low bidder. The town, CMRPC, and Weston and Sampson staff completed bid reviews and reference checks. In July, the town executed a contract for $498,168.30 with ML Partlow and Son. A pre-construction meeting was held on July 30th, followed by a public on-site meeting in August to inform residents about the project scope, schedule, and anticipated impacts. By mid-September, the contractor had mobilized on-site and began preliminary work, beginning with roadway reclamation and installation of new drainage structures. By late November, the contractor had completed final paving on both the roadway and sidewalks, bringing the project to substantial completion before the end of the 2025 construction season. Following the final paving, representatives from the town, CMRPC, and Weston and Sampson conducted a site visit and inspection of the completed work. During this review, several items were identified that would require the contractor to return in the spring to complete. This includes the installation of loam and seed, line painting, repair of select curb sections, and resetting of mailboxes. So that's a brief overview of the project to date. Are there any questions with that part of it? Okay. So the second part of this hearing is to discuss the proposed reprogramming of funds from the Kimball Street project into a new ADA sidewalk improvement project. So I'll just go on to read this. Upon achieving substantial completion, the updated project cost is $536,119.30, inclusive of 3 change orders. Additionally, the engineering consultant has requested a change order to include an additional 107 and a half hours, inspection hours, bringing the contract amount up to $198,600. This leaves a remaining available budget of $300,280.70. We'd like to propose reallocating an amount up to $250,000 in available funds from the Kimball Street project into a downtown ADA sidewalk ramp improvement project. This project will address existing sidewalk ramps that are non-compliant with the American with Disabilities Act, ADA, by completing necessary improvements. It will include both the engineering design phase and construction of approximately 35 sidewalk ramps within the downtown area. The project area encompasses the center of town, bordered by Center Street to the north, Kimball Street to the east, Pleasant Street to the south, and Upper River Street to the west. I also did include as part of the packet a map that indicates the location of each ramp as it's proposed, as well as a cost breakdown of the cost estimate. So through this hearing, we'd like to seek public's input on this proposed reprogramming, and then ultimately the select board's approval to reprogram these funds into this additional activity. So I think at this point I just open it up to questions about the potential project, and I know Kyle, if you'd like to add anything to this new project as well.
So
Okay.
the first question I had is, how did you come about with the specific green dots that indicate where the new ramps will take place? How did, just
Great
give me
question.
a little overview on how
Yep,
that.
absolutely. So myself, Kyle, and Bill Storty from Weston and Sampson, we walked around the site, or drove around the site to identify ramps that were not ADA compliant from what we could tell, just a preliminary assessment. Another consideration to take into effect is that having done this in a few other towns, the state likes to see us improving ramps that lead into sidewalks that are already in good condition. They don't want us to lead it into a sidewalk that's in poor condition or needs more repair work. So that kind of limited our selection of ramps within this area. And we also tried to target, the most used or, connecting neighborhoods, critical, intersections or sidewalks or crosswalks, and we just kind of narrowed it down from there. So we felt that, yeah, these identified locations would have the most impact through this project.
Yeah. No, it looks great to me, and I was just curious how that was to come about. So great job for everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, do you have anything? Beth, do you have anything?
I just have a couple of quick questions. One of the things we've seen in the past is in putting in these appropriate ADA ramps, adjacent portions of the sidewalk sometimes become less compliant. Most of these areas, as much as I know that particular area, because I kind of live in the neighborhood, I don't think you'll necessarily struggle with those, but I do notice that one area that was made even more non-compliant by our Central Street project, I don't think is actually annotated on the map if I'm reading it appropriately. So,
That's
So-
correct. There is an ADA crosswalk there now. I'm
Right.
working on a supplemental grant through Complete Streets program for this upcoming construction
okay,
season.
so
to target
are
sidewalks.
there any compliant ramps that will create a similar situation of what's annotated here? Like, are there any that will drive additional construction because we get the ramp compliant and an adjacent area, we wind up with a waste grade?
We left room for surface restoration. That's where you transition out of your ramp into the existing sidewalk.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Great.
So, okay, so that's included in
Correct.
this for any of the areas where we're likely to create a
Yep, we-
scenario by correcting something.
Yeah, we would have it being a compliant and also a safe transition into the existing sidewalk.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So are these to be, each individual one to be designed by an engineer?
Correct.
Okay. And
Yes.
how many, what was the total? Is it every green dot on here?
Yep, so
Oh,
right
wow.
now we have approximately 35 sites identified that we could
And you'll
include.
get that with 300,000?
Yeah, so actually
Well under.
250.
the,
Or 250, yeah,
so
even less
the
than.
cost estimate we have right now
It's
has
about
it
210.
at $209,000.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily plan to use 250, but I figured if we asked up to 250,000, that we would allow us to have some kind of contingency in the event that we wanted to add a couple more
If-
ramps.
Yeah, if there's any money left, I know Beth is, I've heard her talk about the one on Central Street for quite some time.
Okay.
So I think I would advocate for that to be one to be hit if at all possible
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. Kyle's marking it out right now, so. Central Street and Common.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
got it, thank you. Yep, I'll talk to the engineer and we can definitely add that. As you see here, it looks like about $2,800 per ramp, roughly.
Wow, that seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that's what we think, so, yeah, we've done this in a couple other towns too, and that seems to be an accurate number, so
Good.
I think that should allow us plenty of room to add on.
So, and it's going back with bituminous concrete versus regular concrete?
Yeah,
right?
just at
Yeah.
the ramp there.
Okay.
The entrance to the sidewalk.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and that portion is most likely to just add to the surface restoration portion of the project, if anything. So I think everything else in that area is compliant.
I think there'll be a little more engineering on the Central and Common Street one. And it's gonna, I think it's gonna require some work on the homeowner's property to kind of make it. Is that something?
It's entirely possible,
Yeah, and you're okay with that?
yeah.
So at this point, we'll just be getting the approval from the select board, from you, to request to amend the budget, and then we'll
Okay.
have it actually engineered and designed. And at that point, we'll bring it back to make sure that the exact
Okay.
locations and the way that they're being proposed to improve are okay with, before we move to put
And
it
I-
out to bid.
And I would actually recommend probably, if it's outside the scope of what you all were already planning, perhaps do it as an add option, and just, in case it's a big enough job that you actually need to go after some additional grant money, because it's waited this long. I hate to put it that way.
So
But-
you mean add it as like an alternate in the?
Add alternate,
in the
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, this okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, yep. I'll be back before, don't worry, I'll be back before it goes out to bid.
I'm sure,
I just,
right?
yeah, just for now.
I just want to make sure that you're in a position that you can get your original intended scope of work done. If we can sneak this in under that, that's great. If we can't, then Kyle, it sounds like you had an alternate plan, so we can just go with your alternate plan.
Juggle them both.
Yep.
And then, as the engineer's doing their work, if any of that is encompassed on private property, that's when they'll make note of it and get sign-offs from?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Right away, yep.
Perfect.
I have a question. Who's gonna do the bid process?
Yeah, so we will, in collaboration with the engineer that's selected, so,
Same as he handles all
the,
of that.
So are you gonna require more money?
nope, so actually, if you look on, it's a great question.
You
Here,
probably got a percentage of the whole grant total, is that what it is?
right, 24,000? So it's actually on the, that handout that I gave you.
Because you readjusted the numbers.
No, so that handout that I just gave you before the meeting. Yeah, exactly. So right here, it actually breaks out,
Yeah, the construction documents, bidding,
So-
constructual administration, so it's like,
$29,000, so that would include putting together the design documents and the bidding services. But you're right, yeah, 4,000 in particular to help with the bidding.
Okay, so you
Yep.
guys are still willing to go out to bid again and do the sidewalks?
yeah, it's
Yep.
all in the,
Okay,
it's all in
all
the
right,
estimate
perfect.
right there.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Well, any other questions from the audience? You guys good? Oh, come on up, Steve.
Do you have a microphone or? We're gonna do wireless.
There you go.
All right, Steve Carmen, 57A Molasses Hill. For the sidewalks and curb ramps, this is going back a little ways, but the town did a self-evaluation and transition plan for ADA compliance back in
Correct.
November 2018. And it does note sidewalks, ramps, and other public locations that are in need of accessibility improvements. Did your team reference this document during this process?
It's a great question. Yes, we did. And we are going to be using it as part of the justification to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities to allow this amendment to be approved. They'll like to see that we reference that document. And
Okay.
that, yes.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, anyone else? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great job.
Appreciate it. See you. See you in a little bit.
All right, moving on to number 3, we have a resignation of Officer Lee Murphy. He's moved on to another community. Number 4, we have a resignation from,
Good man, I have my hand up. I have my hand up.
oh, go ahead, Chris.
I have my hand up on Officer Lee Murphy's resignation.
Okay,
I know that it was a meeting or 2 meetings ago that we promised that the vast resignations from the town employees is going to be something that's going to be on the agenda. It's something that the select board would put on the agenda so that they try to, I don't know, correct the issue that's going on in our town. And it's sad to see that, we just lost one of our police officers, and rumor has it we're going to lose 2 more. And this item, bonus done it, has been done. I mean, can we get perhaps a reminder or reconfirmation from the select board that this action will go on to the agenda? Because we're seeing resignations left and right. We're losing employees constantly. And I just don't see the town is taking any action at all to correct the underlying issues. And I think the first step to do that is to address the issue head on. And we were promised that was going to be done, and it's not done yet. So can we get that taken care of?
that's 2 minutes, all right. All right, anyone else? Oh, come on up, Steve.
Steve Carmen. I get that there's some rumors out there about the state of the town and resignations and things of that nature, and I hear them too. And I think it's a little bit difficult to substantiate that for any particular cause, and I feel like that's where a lot of unrest might come from. So for the resignation process, I think it would be good if there were exit interviews done for the individuals who do resign by department heads or those who oversee the boards or departments, so there can be some perspective about where those resignations came from, as opposed to speculate and use this to assume that there's some civil unrest in town, because the speculation, I think, is what's eating this town from the inside. And if there was some more transparency about what the potential issues were during resignations or what the reasons were, I think that there could be some constructive things that were done about it. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Oh, hold on, Dave. Bruce, come on up.
Bruce Clark. I've done a small evaluation just on the highway department. Since Pete was here, 11 people have left. That's what, a year? A little less than a year. 11 people. This board needs to evaluate what is going on, because something is happening. 11 people, just on one small department. The total number of people's over 50. Town can't run on newbies. You have to have the people that have been here for a long time to pass that information on to somebody new. Right now, you're not getting any of that. Something's wrong and it has to come from you people to iron it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Colcott?
Yeah. Good evening. Happy New Year to you all. Dave Holcraft, 26 Allen Road, South Brookfield. As far as the police go, I've spoke to a couple of them. All police departments in Massachusetts are going in, they're having an influx. People are moving around quite a bit. And I spoke to one police officer last night. He's getting a $10 hour raise, a $10 hour raise over what we're paying. But he's going to a bigger community, more crime, all sorts of stuff. And that's the reason he's leaving. As far as Lee Murphy goes, I know he went to a bigger town and he's getting more pay because it's a bigger town. And they both told me that they're moving up in their careers, and that's the reason they're leaving. As far as the highway department, I can speak on that because I know what's going on there. I was at the highway committee there. We hired a lot of people that were incompetent. They were not accountable for their jobs, and they moved on, and it was good for the town that they did move on. And again, the highway departments in Massachusetts are all in flux too. Everybody's moving around, trying to get a better job, whatever, closer to home. So I know where some of these people are going, trying to say there's something going on in town here. It's happening to all the towns. So let's not try to make something that isn't there.
Anyone else? All right, moving on. Number 4, the resignation of our water superintendent.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Sure.
I did something of an informal, on one case, a semi-formal exit interview, and in another instance, I'm sorry? Okay. And in one instance, an informal exit interview. And it's interesting what Mr. Holcraft said, because he was cited in both of those interviews as being a significant contributing factor to people not being comfortable serving the town. So I just want to make sure we put that out there, right? I'm sure that his opinion is that that played no role in it, or that it was some form of justification out there. But I think, in particular, some of the comments regarding the execution of our water superintendent's responsibilities, I think there's a clear lack of understanding both of the Massachusetts general law regulations associated in what we need to do in order to run that plant, and a total lack of appreciation of the type of coverage we managed to have with the level of staffing that we had in this town. And I know we're about to talk about, at least accept the water intendant's resignation, but I think that it's really important to understand that not only will this predicate potentially a necessity to restructure our water department to a more comprehensive, standardized hours coverage, but it may also leave us exposed to having to include in our capital plan sometime in the next 3 to 5 years a manganese plant to make certain that if we're not giving all the love and attention to our pumps that they've received and wells that they've received over the last, really especially the last 10 to 20 years, okay, that we are going to be in a position where in order to get that same level of service, we're going to have to invest money we really don't want to have to do into our water system. So I think that we have to make certain that we're really appreciating what we have when we have the staff that we do, and that we're not, grinding any personal axes relative to what we're trying to achieve in the different departments in town. I think that's very important to understand. So.
Are you done?
Yep.
Come on up.
We actually have a hand up online.
Yeah, hand up first online.
Oh,
before
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so on Dennis's resignation, I'm gonna say the same thing. We have multiple town employees resigning, and the town is doing absolutely nothing to address the core fundamental issue at hand. And I'll tell you from a legal standpoint, You guys have a fundamental obligation to protect the town employees. And you are, for lack of better words, choosing not to. I mean, I don't understand how, if you're in a business like this, you'd be out of business. If we just hire new people, oh, we're just gonna hire a new person, a new town administrator, here's another new town administrator, this new treasurer, oh, there's another new treasurer, here's another assessor, and we're just gonna lose people left, right. Your highway department, great people, come and go. I mean, and what is the end? We don't address the issue at hand. We're promised that it's going to be put on the agenda so that it can be something that can be talked about. We keep it all in the shadows, opaque as possible, and say, oh, we've got to hire a new person. Maybe when our water bills go through the roof, or how about this? How about we just open our eyes and say, you know what? We're one closer to state receivership. Eventually, the state's going to have to come in and just take over. Okay? Or we're going to get our asses sued by a town employee that's going to say, hey, here's the pattern, here's the history, here's the inaction. You guys had a choice, you didn't make any choice, it's allowed to go on and on and on. An employee's going to sue the town. And they're going to have just cause to do it. And I just don't understand how we just keep going down this path, saying, oh, we're trying someone else. We're check out a new ad. We're just replace that person without saying, what's going on here? Let's put a team together. Let's put a committee. Let's figure out what's going on. What can we do to fix this? I'm just dumbfounded.
All right, come on up.
Pat Washburn, 12 Maple Street. I've lived here in town since 1994. And when I came into town, Alan Martell was the head of the highway department. And, you know, he was like in his 70s then. And he worked for another 10 or more years and did everything. Bruce was the water department superintendent back then. And Bruce didn't sit around anywhere. If the highway department needed a hand, Bruce was right there.
Do you mind just speaking through me and not mentioning names?
Well, I'm just saying that at the time,
I understand,
the
but
Bruce
I'd like to change the board and try to start to change some of the toxicity. So please just speak through me and then we'll.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think what a lot of the rumors, animosity, and the feelings that are going around is that a lot of the people who are old timers in this town that have lived here for many years are so used to people like the old water superintendent, the old highway superintendent, the people that dedicated their life because it was their town. It was, you know, their neighbors, their family. It wasn't just a job to them. And there's still people in this town that are like that, but they're becoming fewer and fewer here in town. And so you have people that are looking back at, you know, this guy did this guy did that, and this guy, he's just not bucking up. But I've never met the current water superintendent. I don't think I've ever met him. I don't know him. But I do know that.
I'm going to give you a few more seconds because I interrupted you.
I don't know him, but I do know that he certainly didn't compare to our previous one, and that's a shame because he would have had a lifelong job, I think, if he was able to do the things and show that dedication that the last one did.
I'm going to cut you there, but thank
That's
you.
okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Did you speak to this, Bruce? Have you spoke to this, or did you speak to the police?
I spoke with the Murphy.
Come on up.
Bruce Clark. You may or may not know the superintendent that's resigned is my son.
Bruce, would you do me one favor, just speak through the chair?
Sure,
And then
all right.
say, speak
So-
freely.
So the
but-
superintendent that just resigned is my son. Regulations have changed multifold since I left this town. I also had a secondary operator who worked for this town. That covered the responsibility or the legal responsibilities with DEP. The town hasn't had that since Donald Herbert retired. And so there was a lot of change involved right then and there. And I just hope people realize that the water industry is a changing industry all the time. And the yellow sign at the end of the street had a lot to do with somebody saying, I'm done in Brookfield. He wanted to stay here, but he wasn't going to. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Are you speaking on item 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 minute, please. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. As far as the resignation of this, our water superintendent who just left, he went on to a bigger, huge town with a lot more money. And I don't think a person in a position like a superintendent in Brookfield is going to leave because someone says something on a sign. I mean, that just tells you what type of, if you can't do the job, then leave. Again, we're talking about accountability. My opinion, and it was on the sign, he wasn't doing his job. And I can state that many, many times over.
Your opinion ain't worth it.
All right.
We don't care what you think, Bruce Clark. It's your son.
Enough. I'm not going to have it. I'll have you both removed. You'll speak through the chair.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's okay, Rich. Don't get all wound up. Getting back to what I was saying, the accountability in the town employees here, it's not happening. People, they think they're entitled to do what they want in this town, and I'm a resident of this town, and if I want to call somebody out, I'm going to call them out. And this particular job things are not getting done here. It's a very small 18-hour-a-week job, and things can't get done in 40 hours. There's something wrong here. We have a problem here. So if people are not going to be accountable and you're not going to do your job, then you shouldn't stay in town. Just go get somewhere else, and that's where he went. He went and bettered himself with a whole lot more pay, and that's the reason he left. So we can't keep banging on me because the yellow sign is just a mirror of what goes on in this town.
Come on up, Holly.
Holly Chisholm, 19 Pine Lane. Actually, the reason why people have left is because of the leadership in this town and the harassment that they've been going through. Dennis was an A-plus employee. You couldn't get better. He was our number one. You could not get better. And people have left because of the leadership and the harassment. And no protection for the employees. That's it.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? I'd like to move on. Number 5, appoint a project manager for the cemetery paving committee. There's been a lot of controversy over.
No committee, just
I'm sorry, cemetery paving project at the cemetery. There's been a lot of controversy over whether I had involvement or my son was going to sell some product to the town. There's been ethics violation, complaints been made about me regarding it, but I want to make it very clear that my son will not be doing any work for the town, will not be selling any products. I will not be donating any of my time to the cemetery. I fully intend to be involved in appointing a project manager down there. I spoke to our highway superintendent. He wants to get some logistics of the job regarding the old paving committee members and the cemetery commissioners. So he wants to have some time to speak to both of those before he accepts taking a position for paving the repaving of the roads at the cemetery. So I'm going to ask to move this one to a later date, and perhaps Beth, you could speak to Kyle at a later date and find out when he's ready to take it on, then we appoint him.
Okay.
Is
and
that
what-
fair as a highway superintendent liaison? Is that fair?
Yeah,
I
so
don't want to
I'll-
put too much on you, but.
No, I'll work with Kyle relative to this and getting
Okay.
him comfortable. One of the resources that he and I discussed that he felt he needed for this project, which I did get some quotes, and I believe, and I have to double check whether it's something that we need to send out an RFP in order to do an RFP, but I don't think we do because it's functionally falls into that same category as a financial service. Is that Rebecca Ruffley, who's been doing our Gay Road project, can do a by the hour bid support for projects related to highway and construction. She's certified as a procurement officer within the state of Massachusetts. So I know when I discussed this with Kyle, one of the concerns was that we didn't currently have a CPO, and there's a couple of projects upcoming that would be a lot better if we had one. But you can do it on a project-by-project basis so long as the person's certified. So I do have that quote. It's in your email box. I only sent it over, I think it was like this afternoon. I got it a couple days ago. Sorry for the delay. Okay. But we can certainly bring this back around once we've got those details ironed out. I didn't realize that he had concerns about whether or not to take it on or not.
Well, just because of the difference in, he wants to go into it with support from the paving committee as well as the cemetery commissioners, so that there's no controversy that he's thrown in the middle of, and I don't blame him for that.
We're talking like he's not here, but
Well,
so I kind
that's
of want to
okay.
hear from himself.
Well,
If he doesn't mind, what he's comfortable with. I mean,
Fair enough.
if he's not or not.
Kyle Orkowski, Highway
Jeez.
Superintendent.
you got the limelight. Kyle.
No,
Go
it's
ahead.
exactly
No.
what Rich said. Basically, I want to meet with the cemetery commissioners and run the plan by them that was developed last year by the cemetery paving committee, and either get a verbal or a written or at least a handshake that they are on board with that work being executed, because it is a decent amount of work. It's going to involve, like you said, contracting, and it's a forever thing down there. So there was some, I don't want to call it, there was some miscommunication last year as to what application method should be down there, whether it was asphalt, chip seal, this and that. So I want to just clarify what's being done.
Actually, I think that was laid flat very explicitly. So I actually take some, I have to take a different stance in what you're saying. I don't think there was any question relative to what's allowable within the historical preservation plan, which is something we're somewhat beholden to because of the grant monies we've accepted in the past and if we expect to get any in the future. It's very clear. And then the other piece that I really take issue with, and it's not with you, Kyle. Understand any issues I have with this. I'm not saying you're just the messenger, right? You're hearing these things. When that cemetery paving commission was set up, it was supposed to include representation from the cemetery commissioners. They chose not to attend or engage, I think I think there was one final meeting that Kermit managed to execute where they did get concurrence. They acknowledged that it needed to be chip seal. There's a couple of different styles of chip seal that it could be, but either one of them would be compliant in accordance with the historical preservation plan down there, okay? And all that really needs to happen is for the materials to get requoted. Originally, the work was going to be done by highway, but the material is going to be provided by external contractor, and there's a potential they use them to do some of the prep work as well. I think it's appropriate for you to reach out to both parties, but I don't want anybody to walk away from here with the thought that first of all, that the cemetery commissioners weren't at least invited to be part of the process, and that There is no question about whether it's asphalt or chip seal. It needs to be chip seal. Okay? Or else we need to just do gravel, or we could just do grindings and never go back through and seal it and do it the same way that the volunteers did the other road. But asphalt is not an option. Okay, period. That was established. Okay, I want to make sure that we don't try to obfuscate what conversations, communication, and documentation that we have previous. And the reason why you see Mr. Carmen nodding up and down is he was the Concom representative on that committee. All of those discussions occurred. I believe all the minutes are even available.
I had given up my role on that committee.
Right, okay.
Halfway through the project, and I had a highway personnel step in for
Right,
me.
I understand, but the minutes exist, the decisions were made, the communication came back to this board as well, okay, about what the path forward was going to be. We do not need to re-adjudicate what needs to occur. We just need to go back out to bid to make certain that everything is got a clear path to execution. And by the time all of that had happened last year, we were looking at the middle of October for, there are other processes like asphalt where you can get away with doing it in the middle of October. With chip seal, this has got to get very carefully planned to occur when the weather is hot or the results are not going to be what we need it to be. So it's one of those things that has to happen sometime probably between the 15th of June and like no later than probably the 1st of September. Other than that, all that has to happen is to go back out for bid for the underlayment material and the chip seal contractor. That's all that needs to happen. So,
The problem is Kyle feels like he's being put in the middle, and I'm gonna be frank. So I know you're saying, and I
Right.
fundamentally, I agree with what you're saying. I was giving Kyle an opportunity to go and speak to both, so that as he gets into it, he's not going into an uncomfortable
I'll
situation.
take the title, I'll take the title, I'll take the responsibility, that's fine. It's-
I'm not expecting you to take it today. I think you need to talk to everybody, but I don't want you to talk to everybody from the mental paradigm of this stuff wasn't decided and we don't know what we're supposed to do. This stuff was decided. If anybody claims that we still want to go back to the original idea of asphalt, then that means that they're really trying to basically ignore all of the communication guidance and critical documents associated with the management of that
Fair enough.
property, and that they're not actually invested in appropriate maintenance of a historical site within this community,
Fair enough.
right? So I just want to make sure that you have that awareness going into those conversations, that if anybody tries to say, oh, let's just go back to doing asphalt because it's easier, quicker, faster, and maybe a little cheaper, that it's a little bit of a smokescreen. Let's
You
just
got
put
it.
it that way, okay?
I'll take
So
the
we'll leave it,
responsibility on
we'll leave it that Beth, you'll speak to all parties involved, you'll let Beth know when you want it on the agenda, and we'll move forward that way, correct? Nothing
Great.
good with that?
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you, Kyle. All right, number 6.
Mr. Carmen.
Oh, I'm sorry, come on up, Steve, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there.
Steve Carmen, member of the most recently dissolved Cemetery Paving Committee. And yeah, all the minutes for our meetings are available. The cemetery commissioners were invited to all four or five of our meetings. And Mike Siri attended our last one, and he did provide some input as the cemetery superintendent. Now, granted, I think that there might have been some, maybe some disagreements behind the scenes there, but we invited the cemetery commissioners to those meetings. And if there is any tension between boards or committees and commissioners, like, personally, I'm an open book, and I want us to work together as a team for Brookfield. And that comes to other allegations of, any allegations of, like, personal gain that might come from a particular contractor being selected. Like, we are a small town, and I feel like sometimes if you are in the business to do a good job, or your son might be in that business, I don't understand why we need to look for reasons to tear each other down, because we are a team. And when we do things to detriment Brookfield because of personal issues, and I get that it goes both ways, but we need to start working together as a town. And it applies to this project as well, because Kermit Eaton put a lot of time into this project over both tenures of the Cemetery Paving Committee, I believe with an intention to collaborate
with the cemetery commissioners. And when we're at a point, we're at a standstill again, and this project is getting jeopardized once again, I feel like we should look at what we've most recently developed, but also get the blessings of the cemetery commissioners. And if we have to have conversations, let's have conversations, because communication is how we get through these things.
That's exactly why, in speaking with Kyle before the meeting, Steve, that's exactly what we talked about. And I would like to see it get blessed by the cemetery commissioners and we know the cemetery paving committee was on board. But I asked Kyle to reach out to the cemetery commissioners so that we can move this project forward ASAP, because it's a worthy project, and doing it the way that Kermit did, like you say, he did a lot of research and he put a lot of time and effort. Doing it the way that he brought forward, I thought was the best way possible. So thank you for your.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Number 7, interim treasurer compensation. Lori, do you mind coming up and being involved with this and taking the lead, seeing how you've been quite involved already?
Brenda unfortunately couldn't come tonight, but comps in this area for treasurer only is about $40 an hour. I think we should be doing this on an hourly basis, not a stipend, just until we fill the position elsewhere. So she was agreeable to that. She thought it was fair. It's generally $40 and up. 40 is the low end with no experience, which is where we are. So.
Okay. I also spoke with Brenda. I asked her what she thought. She said that you recommended 40, and she was okay with that. So I don't know if you've had a chance to speak to Brenda.
I hadn't spoke to her specifically about compensation.
Okay.
I hadn't spoken to her about an explicit hourly rate, just more holistically about willingness to do the work. And is our expectation that she would be charging a different rate when she's working treasurer work versus collector work? Or are we talking about a blended rate during her interim period?
No, so it'd be completely, so as a collector, because she's elected, she receives her salary. So she is going to need to track her
hours,
treasurer hours separately and
Got
be
it.
paid hourly.
Thought I shut this off. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I did speak to Brenda about what her hourly rate was as a tax collector, and she said based on her elected position with her hours that she doesn't necessarily have an hourly rate. It's like you said. So, but she was good with the $40 an hour, and that was this afternoon around 4 o'clock.
Great.
Yeah, she spent the whole afternoon training, so.
All right.
Just making it known that we're gonna pay Brenda, and I'm not against the $40, but I think we only posted the position at 38. So, with HR.
Which doesn't, so.
Included, so I'm just making it known that we posted for $38, but then we're gonna give Brenda interim for 40. And I'm on board with the 40, I just wanna make that known.
I thought we put a range on it. We didn't put a range on it?
You're right, the latest one does have a range.
Oh, the latest one does
Yeah,
have the range?
it has a range.
Yes,
All
it
right.
does, you're absolutely right. The
Okay.
ordinance said
So
I just wanted to
what's
make
the
sure.
current posting state?
I'm gonna have to
Go pull it up.
wait a second.
Yeah, pull it up.
Because I think we phrased it as a $60,000 to $80,000
I think I remember that.
prorated
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
number
yeah.
of hours worked.
I
With
just
yeah,
wanted to
it's
make sure
something
the
like with
30
experience or something.
Yeah.
So I think
Okay,
that's
then I'm
well
on
within
board.
it.
Yeah, I'm okay then. I just wanted to make sure the posting for the 38 wasn't still floating, because I feel like that doesn't look good.
Oh,
Did-
agreed. No, and trust me, I'm not arguing with your point. I'm just, I think we're
But no,
covered
I
because
think,
I think the most
yeah, I
recent
think you're right. I think
posting.
it is the 80,000.
Yeah, annualized salary equivalent to 60 to
80,000, okay.
With experience.
All right, perfect.
So
Did-
because
was-
of that range, it,
Yeah, we're covered.
My other question is, and I didn't talk with Brenda, so I guess I should have, but is there a certain amount of hours that she's gonna work, like extra, or is she gonna fit it in, or how are the hours
We're
gonna
gonna
work?
fit it in, so it's heavy every other week when we do AP checks. since we're not going to have Brenda do the actual payroll entry. So every other week, she's going to be responsible for cutting AP checks, paying all the withholdings that are associated with payroll.
Yeah.
She's said she's most likely going to work with one of the senior workers to actually stuff and send the checks. But then she's going to have to do bank deposits and entry, which she can do on the opposite week, if she can make it work on an opposite week. If not, she'll have to do every week. And she's going to have to maintain the cash book, which she did as much training as she could today, because we were cutting checks. So she went through the check cutting process and everything, wire transfers and how we do all of that. I'm going to oversee the cash book so it doesn't fall behind and help her with that. So she's going to fit in the hours as she can.
Okay.
So I have a question relative to this, just because I don't want to put us in a position where, I mean, typically there's an intentional divide between the treasurer and the accountant, especially relative to the cash book in communities. And in searching for potential interim solutions, right? Fortunately, Brenda stood up because nothing that we were pursuing came up in time, right? But one of the things in the context of this, and we don't necessarily have to decide it tonight, but in the context of this, I did make some contacts with James Dunbar and Melissa, I'm going to get her last name wrong. Hawthorne, who's the current treasurer over in Princeton. And if we wanted to functionally have an official treasurer mentor to help Brenda with things like the cash book and some of the other treasury operations, right? My understanding is they're both pretty well respected in the area, right? And have some solid experience.
That would be their opinion, but sure.
Okay.
I will go with Jim is, yes.
Okay.
Melissa is fairly green.
She, newer, right? So,
She is newer.
right,
And there's a reason that my company does not work there anymore.
okay. Fair. But that we would, what's that?
Oh, we're not gonna talk from the audience. If
Okay.
you want to speak, just raise your hand and you'll have an opportunity to come.
But to take a look at potentially finding somebody to help, at least so that we've got some level of kind of division between the treasury and the account.
So by
accounting
law,
office.
I am allowed to oversee the cash book. I can't touch it, but I can oversee it.
Okay.
I oversaw the cash book in another community for the last 6 months while we had an assistant, on paper, an assistant-only treasurer, and the state was well aware of what was going on. Because I'm not touching it, I can oversee it.
Okay,
The treasurer has to make the entries, has to do the reconciliation, but I can guide them in the process.
I am very comfortable with Brenda. I have the confidence in her, and I have the confidence in Lori, and I have the trust. And there's no one that's brought this town forward faster and got us out of trouble than Lori and her guidance. And I have all the faith in the recommendation that she has. I spoke with Brenda in great detail this afternoon, and she thought it was a great plan moving forward, and she was very optimistic. So, me personally, I'm very comfortable with it.
And I will be clear, this separation really comes into the fact that I have no access to your bank accounts. So when the transition happens, which it'll happen after Brenda's officially appointed and gets her letter, the bank accounts will transition from Sharon to Brenda, and they are the only ones with access to the bank accounts. So they're the only ones that can view them, and the only ones that can make changes, transfers, that kind of stuff. I can request copies as the accountant to see paper bank statements, but I can't access anything.
I think it's a new system. I believe in the people that we have to do it, and I'm willing to give it a try. And if we get a qualified treasurer that popped in the next few months, then I think we could revisit this at any point. But I think as of now, I think it's a pretty good plan moving forward.
I'm not saying it's not a good plan, I'm just
Yeah, no, I get
asking
it.
if we need some backstop phone a friend assistance, right? And I don't wanna go any farther pursuing that if there's not gonna be at least consideration of it as an option, right? I haven't circled back around with Brenda to see what her level of comfort was, because she had wanted to spend some time with Lori first and,
Sure.
and do portions of the transition, so I haven't closed the loop. But I just, I wanted to at least frame it up. I understand that we don't like a growth in government, right? But at the same time, it is a,
I'm going to interrupt you there.
Nope.
I have done my best to knock the crap off, and you cannot refrain from making a comment like that. Please refrain when you say the crap growing in government, the comment I made at our last meeting, growing government. So let's just do our best for the community, Beth.
well, I think that's my point, is that, and that's what I'm trying to say, is that it's
Well,
not,
we
it's not
don't
a.
need the crap.
Both of you, all right, the comment wasn't necessary, and
Let's
your
move
comment
on.
wasn't necessary either. Can we move on and stick to the
Let's do
subject,
that.
please?
If Brenda does need help, Sharon also did make it clear. I mean, she's only in Holland. She's not leaving for any reason other than she was overwhelmed by doing two towns. She is completely available. Brenda is able to text or call,
As needed.
phone a friend as needed.
Okay.
She's still around, so she is welcome to still reach out with questions. So,
Well, thank you for all your help and efforts in
No
this as well,
problem.
Lori.
Yeah, and thanks to Brenda for stepping
Brenda
up.
seems enthusiastic about it.
Yeah,
She's gonna
Yeah.
she
ta-
seemed.
She's
yeah, she
already
seemed kinda happy
watched some
about
videos.
it.
She's
Yeah.
gonna take the classes. Either way, she knows it's just interim, but you know she's interested.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
And
Yeah.
she's helping us out a lot, and you are too. So thank you to
You're
both
welcome.
of you.
All right. Jacob, did you say Chris had his hand up? Yeah, he still does, yes. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think the select board should consider giving a 20% pay increase, take it from $40 up to $48. And the reason I say that is because, let's just be honest, Brookfield Town Hall is a hostile work environment. So in any other sector, you would be allowed to be considered what call it hazard pay. So since the town doesn't want to take any willingly steps to address the issues at Town Hall, and the employees are at a higher risk, then they should be compensated for that. So I think the town should consider paying an additional 20%. Because we don't even want to try to fix the conditions. We don't even want to address it. So why not compensate the employees, give them extra, call it hazard pay? I think it's something that we should explore. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. I really appreciate your help. Great job. All right, number 7. Oh, no, no.
I have a lot of concerns here. The mechanics of this. The current tax position person is paid 34 hours a week, and her position is not salary. It's based on an hourly rate. And if you remember back in 2014, and Beth, you were on the board, and as well as Pat, we gave her an extra 6 hours based on 6 hours of pay back in the day, of course. And we voted at 2014 a $10,000 raise to work those extra 6 hours. Those 6 hours are still currently not being worked. She works about 28. She's getting a paycheck based on 34. And I have documentation, and I can bring that to you if I have to. Now you want to give her more? You want to give her more compensation, more hours? When is she going to work these hours? She's currently not working her time now. How is she going to take and be able to do this? And we don't even have anyone here on Wednesday nights anymore either. So the town folks can't come in if they come from Boston. They can't come in and see if the tax office is closed. All the other towns, they have one night that's open for the people. So you're going to give her more money, more time. When is she going to do this? She's not even doing her other 6 hours, and she's getting paid for it. If she gets 6 hours, every other employee in this town should get 6 hours as well. It's a bonus pay to her. Everyone else should get one as well.
Did you have your hand?
documentation, I can get it for you.
Thank you. Holly, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry. Okay. Come on up, Steve. I will say, Sarah brought up a point some time ago about getting rid of public comment. I'm starting to think it was the best idea.
Yeah.
I didn't say
So,
get rid
but-
of it. I
but-
said once in the beginning.
Go ahead, Steve.
I just want to say that we're in a bind right now because we don't have a treasurer, and we're doing our best to have a bonded person to do this job in the interim. So to try to tear that down is, again, we are on Team Brookfield. We need to come up with a viable solution given the situation that we're in. So come on, let's stop tearing each other down and work toward what actually can work for Brookfield given where we are.
Thanks, Steve. Come on up, Pat.
Facts, Steve, facts. You gotta stick to the facts.
I was on the advisory committee when we gave her those 6 hours worth of pay. And she came in and said that she needed those hours because she didn't have enough time in her week to get all the things that she needed to get done because she was here at night and she had to put the deposits together and take the deposits to the actual bank. And of course, modern technology now, we don't, unless it's cash, we don't go to the bank. We put it through the machine and the checks go right into the account. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're not doing that 6 hours, then you shouldn't get paid for it because that was the intent of giving her the 6 hours. Her reasoning is that I'm an elected official, so when I get that money on the town hall floor, it's all of my money, and it doesn't matter how many hours I work. I can work 2 hours and still get the same pay. Now, to me, that is not right. To even think that way or say it out loud is not right. So if we're going to give somebody even an interim position, we need to look at the person that we're trying to give this position to and their character. Now, this is a treasurer's position. This is the money of the town. And when you have somebody like that, making comments like that, I'm sorry, but you know what? I'm not on team let's get together if we have somebody making sarcastic comments like that who take advantage of the town. We need to look at this person's character, not just their abilities. Now, how are they going to behave in that treasurer's setting when they have issues? Are they going to have the same snooty attitude as they had when they were talked about the extra hours they were given?
I'm going to stop.
That's
Thank you.
okay. But I mean, truly, look at their character.
Beth voted for it too.
She did.
She voted for those 6 hours.
All right, please.
Right, Beth?
Dave, come on. I don't want to have anyone removed, but I will. Please stop. Do you,
We just make a motion.
but I do want to say that I agree with Steve mostly. Like,
Yeah, I do want to say,
I-
like,
Well, the one thing that we all, I think, universally agree on is that Brenda is the right person for this interim job based on what she's done for the town in her current role and her willingness to take this on, period.
and I want to say thank you to her because she does not have to. And the incentive for her to take this on is additional pay. Because let's face it, we're now in a bind where if we don't have someone to do this, we've offered now up to $80,000 for someone to come in to do this. And at $40 an hour, I don't know how many hours a week that's going to entail, but based on breaking that job in 3 separate positions, am I right? Right, we're gonna have payroll, we're gonna have HR, and then we're gonna have the collections or
The
banking
treasurer.
and, right? So now we broke that out in 3 different parts. And as far as I can tell, we're just based on some rough numbers, we're probably gonna get that done for around $30,000 to $40,000 a year, and maybe less. So I think it's a great thing for the community to like Steve said, come together. She's willing to help out. Let's thank her for it, and let's save the town some money and move on.
Yeah, in a great town, not in a great world, I should say. Yeah, that we would have 10 candidates that are wonderful and are treasurers and have wonderful experience.
And the one person could do everything.
Yeah, but
we do not
unfortunately,
have
we
that
don't.
person stepping up.
Yeah, we don't, and Brenda is, she could say no, and we would, excuse my language, but we would be screwed if Brenda decided to say, no, I'm not helping us out, so.
Well, we will then pay $180 or more
Yeah,
for a firm,
for a
which
firm.
is,
But we can't even find a firm
Yeah.
either,
Can't even find a firm
Yeah,
for
so
love of
it-
money.
so, all right. Number 7, appoint interim treasurer.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Brenda,
For the $40 an hour.
yes, for the, as treasurer for $40 an hour.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so discussion, the only question I have is, do we have any idea of how many hours a week? Lori, do you have any projection?
I would
any?
guess it's gonna only be about 10 to 15.
I was gonna say 12 to 16,
Yeah,
so,
it's probably gonna be 10 to 15, where we've removed the payroll. She's only cutting checks every other week and making the deposits. It shouldn't be any more than 10 to 15. And I'm gonna talk to Brenda again tomorrow, but I'm assuming because she is closed on Friday here and I work on Fridays from home, we should be able to do the majority of this kind of stuff remotely on Fridays.
So in speaking to her, that's what she thought, that Fridays was going to be the best option for her. She did say the possibility of remotely, so I want to make that clear and transparent to the public that,
Our cash book is Excel, so we keep that's an easy going back and forth.
there's no reason why you can't get on a Zoom or a Teams call and share screens and take a look at what you've got going.
At my house too, so
Yeah.
I told her before she's welcome. I only live 15 minutes away, so.
okay. All right, the only reason for the discussion is to be transparent for the amount of time. So I'm good with that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Number 8, payroll assistance discussion/vote. Lori, do you mind taking that as well?
Sure. So like I mentioned at last week's meeting, I spoke to my boss, an employee of my company, completely separate of me and anyone who works for me, because I do have an assistant that works remotely for me on all of my towns. Another employee is willing to do the payroll input into Harper's. My boss is going to charge $125 an hour because this employee only works for us part-time. She works full-time for another company, and her full-time job is a payroll processor for Shopify, so that's all she does. She is estimating, she glanced at our payroll and saw the number, how we enter. She's estimating it's only going to take her 4 hours per payroll, so it'll be about $500 per pay period. So she will literally enter the payroll only. She'll have no access to our banks. She won't handle withholdings. And she will do that until we find somebody.
And just to be clear, that's about $12,000 a year.
Yes. So, and she's done this before for me in another community where we needed someone to input the payroll because legally I cannot input the payroll to Harper's because that breaks the separation of me doing the warrant and then me actually entering people's payroll. So she'll do it completely separate. I'll scan her everything. She'll enter it and then return it to me and then let me know it's been finished, the same way that I currently do it with Sharon. And she's willing to start on the next pay period, and she's willing to train whoever needs to be trained when we find someone if they need training.
Okay. So who is the actual agency that we would be hiring?
So you're going to use the same firm as mine, so it's Eric Kinshirf, CPA. So he'd be the one billing you. He'll send you a separate bill. The employee's name is Nicole. So she does everything remotely because she lives closer to the Cape, out where our office is.
Okay.
And you're okay sending her everything remotely?
Yes, so I would just have to scan everything on Thursday instead of letting it pile up on my filing cabinet. Yeah.
All right.
So I just have a couple of questions
Yep.
regarding how payroll typically works current state.
Yep.
Okay, so can you just walk us through what the process looks like in terms of what occurs? Turn in from the department heads, who does what when
So
currently?
payroll is due to me every other Thursday. So that would have been due last Thursday, but it bumps ahead a day when there's a holiday. So last week it was due Wednesday, but we'll pretend it was a regular week. It's due last Thursday by noon from all the department heads. I check everything, account numbers. There are departments that their spreadsheets don't tally right, and they're always off 3 pennies, so I re-add those certain department ones to make sure they add up right. Check and make sure everybody has timesheets attached, that their timesheets match their voucher cover sheets. Once all of that has been checked and I total my side and make sure I have everybody's, I give them to the treasurer. She puts everything into Harper's, and then we make sure that we balance. So all of the regular departments in town have to hand theirs in person because I require hard signatures. The school emails theirs by 11 o'clock every Thursday morning, and that's allowed per their contract.
And does that, the entry into Harper's happen Thursday or Friday or when?
Thursday.
Okay.
Yep. So usually I start checking things as people have turned them in. So I have some departments that leave them first thing Thursday morning. So when I come in at 7, there's already stuff in my mailbox. Because our pay period ends on Thursday at 5 o'clock. So people are estimating time for the rest of the day. So I have some departments that just, either they're, it's a salary employee that's getting the same amount, so they just leave their slip, or it's someone who doesn't work on Thursdays, they leave their stuff when they leave on Wednesdays. Or it's a department that knows that they can end their time and make their corrections the following pay period, which is also fine. Because the way we've always handled it, like for highway, our pay period ends on Thursday. If for some reason they have to work Thursday night, they add it to the following week. And everyone has always been fine with that. We don't go in and make adjustments after the fact. So Sharon usually starts entering as I'm checking people's stuff, and then we'll go back and we retotal everything when it's finished, because I do have a few departments that do not turn in until noon. They wait till exactly 12 o'clock to bring me their items.
Okay. And so and just to be clear, the way that it's going to work during the period of time, if we were to use your agency to do that, right, which it sounds like we don't have a lot of options at this point, right, would be that documentation would be scanned and sent to that individual, and they would enter it as they receive it.
She's going to enter it Thursday night.
Thursday night?
Yep.
Okay. So,
You're okay with that?
I'm fine with it because, like I said, I work Fridays. So, which is the reason that we were pushing it through on Thursdays before, because Sharon didn't work Fridays, Amy hadn't worked Fridays, so no one else was working Fridays. I work 40 hours a week, so I work full days on Fridays. Nicole will enter Thursday night and will balance Friday morning, which I am fine with. Our payroll is actually not due to Harper's on a normal week until Mondays, somewhere around 10 or 11. On a holiday week, we have to bump ahead a day, which is why, like last week, everything was due on Wednesday.
okay. So, yeah, I just wanted to establish what that timeline looks like, so that as we're having the conversations with whomever applies to the municipal clerk position, and as we're having conversations with Brenda regarding how this fits in with everything, that, we're all aware that, hey, this is the way it's going to work while we have the agency doing it, which is that Thursday evening entry with a Friday reconciliation, right? Knowing that Harper's deadline is truly Monday, fairly early, to ensure that everything gets cut in time. So I just wanted to make it clear with everybody about how we've done it in the past, what it's going to look like now, and what the real constraints on the process is.
Right, so going forward, which was one of the issues we had when Sarah and I had interviewed a person previously for the treasurer position, is the treasurer that we are going to hire in the future has to be available on a Thursday and then on a Tuesday, because Thursday we do payroll. They have to be able to do it if they don't work Fridays.
Right.
And then the following Tuesday, which was today, we cut checks.
Or they have to be willing to work Friday.
Or they have to be willing to work Friday, but the problem is, now there's no one in the building, so we don't work in the office here on Fridays. So then, I don't mind having to scan this to an employee of my own company because I know this is going to be a very temporary thing. I will not be scanning it to another treasurer who's not working in our building.
Yeah, it's working remote, yeah, you're not
Just
gonna.
because they don't,
Yeah.
they want to work Fridays, because that is outside of the scope of my contract.
So let me ask you something. Do we need to work with the department heads to have them turn it in via scan?
No, because they need to be hard copied until we go ahead with ditching timesheets together. We're not going to go scan because that's how stuff gets completely lost in email.
Okay.
I have a few people now who email me stuff, and the amount of email received, stuff goes missing by 2 weeks.
So you alluded to something, however, is that there's a potential, is there an extra expense if we started having people enter their time directly into Harper's?
There is, which we've already covered and we're willing to pay for. We had discussed that last year. It was only like 25 cents. The problem now is that we're having issues with Harper's and getting it fully set up. And it's really just based on the number of employees and the number of account numbers we have. So it's slowed down the process. So we need to finish the full setup, but what we're finishing now is on the Harper side, not us. We have finished our part. We're waiting on them.
Is there anybody we should be contacting at Harper's in order to try to get that?
We already do. We're just waiting for a rollout date at this point. Unfortunately, there's so few employees over there. It's the same idea of kind of what we're going through is they're limited on their staff and they service probably 75% of the state. So generally when a town takes on this kind of a project, it is about a year before you see it actually rolled out.
Okay.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we hire Eric Kinshift and a CPA to perform the payroll process as required during the interim treasury period.
Have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Jake, is Chris good? No? Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Lori, again. I have not had a chance to even look over the town administrator job description, number 9. If you guys are ready to move on it, I'll move tonight, but if not, I would recommend we just take it, look it over, and then put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
This is a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. Beth, do you have any recommendation, what your preference is?
Well, this is the job description as, that we hired against previously, correct?
Yep.
With the latest one?
This is the one, yeah, this is the one.
So, I mean, are we or are we not currently screening applicants?
We are.
We are.
So, are we expecting that we're gonna make a significant enough change to this job description that it could not be shared because all job descriptions are subject to change largely without notice in most instances? And we didn't, this is not a unique job description. This was developed by basically cribbing a whole bunch of communities' job descriptions originally. So it's not to say that we shouldn't do a thorough review of it, but I think if we are talking to people about the role already, is it sufficient for the purpose of having those discussions with the applicants?
That would be my recommendation, that once we make a hire, then we go into a higher level discussion about the job description and what the expectations are of that person, rather than do it before the person comes on board. I mean, we could clearly do it either way, but I think it would be more fitting if we did it depending on who the person is that gets the job.
So, I mean, I would be willing to, I mean, basically, the vote would be to ratify the existing town administrator job description for the purposes of the town administrator search, would be my motion.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
motion is to ratify the existing town administrator job description for the purposes of executing the town administrator search.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Number 10, acknowledge animal control officer reports for 10/25, 11/25, and 12/25.
Motion to acknowledge the animal control officer reports for October, November, and December.
I haven't, I missed that for some reason, but just, do you mind just giving me 1 minute to look at it, and then I'll continue on?
Sure.
I do want to say that she's the first ACO since I've been involved to give us so much paperwork, so I think that's a plus.
I know I can attest that we had timely response. I don't think I'm on the December report. I'll be on the January report.
Does your dog get out?
No,
Oh.
no, I had an ancient raccoon decide to climb into my backyard.
Oh, gosh.
Fortunately, my dogs decided that it only required barking at and not,
My
they
dog
did,
would've
they
ate
didn't,
it, yeah.
they didn't try to take direct action. They were like, well, yeah. Yeah, fortunately, they did what's referred to as holding, using alarm barking, so.
All right, so, Sarah, did you second the acknowledgement, or Beth, did you make a motion? You made a motion, right?
I made a motion.
Yeah,
Second, if I didn't.
all right, all in favor, or any discussion? All right. I slipped up, should have just called for the vote.
Oh, I was going to come up anyway, bother you.
All right,
How many, did you guys get a count in the calls here?
One,
I think it's good that we're getting paperwork and we got somebody that's doing the
Five.
job.
5.
Okay.
For this month.
Yeah,
7 for this month.
okay,
Five
it's
and
good.
7.
All right, so we get a solid person in there. Okay, it's good. That's very good to hear. Very good. Okay. Continue running your country club.
all right,
Thanks.
so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will say, I want to say, put a thank you. Karen, could you send Deb a thank you for, one, doing such a good job, and two, a good job with her paperwork as well? I know that kills you, but you know what? I was told about brown chips and gold chips, and I'm handing out gold ones.
I'm laughing too because
Yeah. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll provide that in just a second. I just want to make sure, I noticed that we got a note from Kyle. I had actually originally told him I was going to try to get it on today's agenda, and I think it came in inside the wire. Can we just get on the next agenda, discussion
Yeah,
of some of the
whatever,
equipment
whatever you
issues?
submit, within, outside the 48 hours,
Okay.
generally it's in it. For some reason, when I spoke to Karen about ratifying the agenda, there was nothing else on it, but I want to be, so I'll consider this items not reasonably anticipated by the chair so that we don't get hit with another open meeting law complaint for this, but As long as it's before the 48 hours, we'll try to
Yeah,
get it
well,
out. So, yep,
I'm just saying,
yep.
I'll
No, I think it's important.
I'll re-forward the email he sent to make sure that we get it on the agenda.
I think it's important that we get some of the highway superintendents.
The municipal clerk too discussion, can you put that on the next agenda too? That didn't make it.
Beth will send that to me, the letter. I'm not familiar with the.
I think I'm
You're
losing
the one that
control here.
forwarded it
That's all right.
Oh, it's
from Kyle.
a while back.
It was several days ago, I'm pretty sure. So, why do we need to get the municipal clerk back on the agenda? Did it?
We didn't discuss the job description or anything. We said we were gonna actually talk about it, so can we put it back on? We put the ad out there, but we didn't discuss anything else besides the ad.
Okay. Well, actually, I think what I'd like to do is get.
And we have some applicants too, so we can
We're
discuss.
starting to get well beyond,
Well, no, we're just talking about what to put on the next
I'm just
agenda.
asking
Okay.
something
We're
All right.
only talking about what's
All
going
right.
on the next agenda, which is perfectly
okay, I
acceptable.
just want to make sure that
Right.
we're in safe
Yeah,
territory.
yeah, we
Okay.
are. We're talking about what needs to go on the next agenda, and we're
Fair enough.
clarifying what was spoken of before. So I think this is about the most transparent way to deal with the agenda, right?
Yep.
So, and I agree with you. I think we probably need to clarify, but what I'd like is actually to get input from Brenda, because functionally that municipal clerk is gonna be working for her under the purview of both of those offices.
That's okay.
So actually, the person's opinion and kind of like mindset that I'd like to get the most clarification from would be Brenda.
Brenda, that's
So,
fine.
But yeah, let's get the municipal clerk role, and if she doesn't want to come to the meeting, I can talk to her and bring back notes if y'all
All right.
want. So,
I'm gonna also keep an open line of communication with her, so.
That's
yep,
fine.
yep.
so. All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Are we off, Jacob?
I have a complaint. I have a complaint.
What's your complaint?
You need to turn the heat up in this room.
You should go upstairs.
You have not felt cold till you sat up.
My toes froze this afternoon.
If you were over here, the heat's on, I'm hot, yeah.
I'm just freezing.
Oh, no, 2 hours and I was in icicle
Ask
when I
Dave to
left
fund it
that
at our country club. See if he'll help fund our country club to raise the heat.
How can I do that when all the money's being drained out of our town? Giving money away to the
Hey, you wanna be the treasurer? I'll stick you in the office.
That fireplace
Couldn't get bonded.
looks only upstairs, that's for sure. There was no
We
heat
get
coming off that.
claustrophobic in that.
What's it?
That little fireplace upstairs, Paul turned that on for us at like.
It does nothing, it's more for
Is
show.
it for show?
It was all for show.
Psychological,
Yeah.
it's all in your head.
In a play years ago.
There's a separate switch for the heat. There's one for the picture.
Windows on it too, and I'm like, it's so cold in here.
Unfortunately, up there, that new window is holding the cold in, it
Yeah, I
wasn't
think
keeping it
so.
out,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we opened the door to the hallway and it was warmer in the hallway.
In the
than it was
hallway,
that
yeah.
office.
Oh, yeah,